A literature of European and Vedic eras will give us some information on the plant diseases and their control measures. Greek philosopher Theophrastus, 200 BC, recorded some observations on the plant diseases in his book Enquiry into Plants. His experiences were mostly based on imagination and observation but not on experimentation. He had mentioned that plants of different groups have different diseases which were autonomous or spontaneous, no external cause was associated. In India, the information on plant diseases is available in ancient literature such as Rigveda, Atharveda, 1500 to 500 BC, Arthashastra of Kautilya, 321 to 186 BC, Sushruta Sanhita, 200 to 500 AD, Vishnu Puran, 500 AD, Agnipura, 500 to 700 AD, Vishnu Dharmottar, 500 to 700 AD. In Rigveda, not only the classification of plant diseases has been given but the germ theory of disease was also advocated. Vriksha Ayurveda by Surpal in ancient India is the first book in which lot of information on plant diseases is available. In this book, plant diseases were categorized into two groups: internal, probably physiological diseases, and external, probably infectious diseases. External diseases were supposed to be due to attack of microorganisms and insects. In this book, a mention of treatments for different diseases caused by different agencies was prescribed. In chemical treatments, use of honey, ghee, milk, barley flour, pastes made from herbs, plant extracts, etc. were recommended. For the control of root diseases, all cakes of mahuva, mustard, sesame, castor, etc. were used. Symptoms of plant diseases such as rust, downy mildew, powdery mildew and blight are often mentioned in the Bible, Shakespeare's poems and dramas of other Christian literature. In Europe and other Western countries, after the time of Theophrastus, about 286 BC, no definite opinion could be formed about plant disease for the next 2000 years. In ancient period, the plant diseases were attributed to many causes which include divine power, religious belief, superstition, effect of stars and moon, bad wind and wrath of God, etc. Premodern period.
Pier Antonio Micheli, 1679 to 1737. He was an Italian botanist. He was the founder and father of mycology. He was the first person who observed fungal spores for the first time and conducted many spore germination studies by growing fungus organisms on freshly cut pieces of melons and pears. He was the first person who observed cystidia on the lamellar edge or hymeneal layer of agaricales. In 1729 he published a book, Nova Plantarum Genera, in which he gave descriptions about 1900 species in Latin, out of which 900 were fungi. The important genera are Aspergillus niger, Botrytis species, Polyporus species, etc. Matthew Tillet, French, 1714 to 1791. By his well-planned experiments, he proved that wheat seeds that contained black powder on their surface produced more diseased plants than clean seeds. In 1755, he published a paper on bunt or stinking smut of wheat. Tillet is best remembered for his investigations of wheat smuts and bunts, one genus of which, Tilletia, is named for him. He emphasized that bunt was an infectious disease, and it was closely related with fungus. However, he believed that the disease was caused by some toxin produced by the black powder. He did not know that the black powder contained the spore mass of the fungus. He reported that the chemical treatment of seeds with common salt and lime inhibited the contagious activity. Modern period. ISAAC-BENEDICT PREVOST, French. He proved that diseases are caused by microorganisms. He studied wheat bunt disease for about 10 years and in 1807, he published his findings in the paper Memoir on the Immediate Cause of Bunt or Smut of Wheat and of several other diseases of plants and on preventives of bunt. He proved that the bunt of wheat was caused by the fungus Tilletia caries. Studied and observed the germination of bunt species. He confirmed the findings of TILLET by mixing the spores of fungus with clean seeds. Discovered the life cycle of bunt fungus. He showed that the solution containing copper sulfate prevented the germination of bunt spores and can be used for control of bunt diseases. He mentioned the fungicidal and fungistatic properties of chemical treatments. Christian Hendrik PERSOON, 1761 to 1831. PERSOON first published observations in Mycology. In 1801, he published Synopsis Methodica Fungorum for nomenclature of astilaginales, uridinales and gastromycetes. He also published Mycologica Europica in 1822. He gave the name to rust pathogen of wheat as Puccinia graminis. ELIAS Magnus Fries, 1821. He published 3 volumes of Systema Mycologium for nomenclature of hymenomycetes. PERSOON and Fries first time introduced binomial system of nomenclature to classify the fungal organisms. During 1830 to 1845, when late blight of potato was fast spreading in England, Ireland and continental Europe, there was no one opinion among the scientists about the disease-fungus relationship. Anton DeBerry, Germany. He was the father and founder of modern mycology. He was the founder of modern experimental plant pathology. In 1863, he studied the epidemics of late blight and renamed the causal organism as Phytophthora infestans. He discovered heteroecious nature of rust fungi, 1865. He gave detailed account on life cycles of downy mildew genera. He studied about vegetable rotting fungi and damping of seedling fungi. He wrote a book named Morphology and Physiology of Fungi, Lichens and Myxomycetes, 1866. He reported the role of enzymes and toxins in tissue disintegration caused by Sclerotinia sclerotiarum. Students of DeBerry. Marshall Ward, UK, studied coffee rusts and its epidemics. M.S. Voronin, USSR, studied about life cycle of club root fungi, Plasmodiophora brassica. Farlow, Fungi and Bibliography. He established Farlow Cryptogamic Herbarium. First time introduced independent course of plant pathology at Harvard University. Millardet discovered Bordeaux mixture for the control of downy mildew of grapevine. Oscar Brefeld, a colleague of DeBerry, Germany, pioneer in pure culture techniques. Edwin John Butler, 1874 to 1943. He was the father of modern plant pathology and father of Indian mycology. He worked at IRI for 20 years from 1901 to 1920. He was the founder and first director of Imperial Mycological Institute, KW, England, 1920-35. Monograph, Pythiaceous and Allied Fungi. Books. Fungi and Disease in Plants, 1918. Fungi in India, with B.R. Bisbee, and Plant Pathology, with S. G. Jones. E.C. STAKMAN, 1885 to 1979. He studies the variability in rust fungus. Contributed valuable information on physiological races of pathogen. He concluded that due to continuous evolution of races and biotypes in the species of the rust fungus, its pathogenic capability goes on changing, and as a result, the resistant capability of the host also changes. E. F. Smith, USA. He gave the final proof of the fact that bacteria could be incitants of plant diseases. He also worked on the bacterial wilt of cucurbits and crown gall disease. He is also called as father of phytobacteriology. In 1981, he demonstrated for the first time that budding or grafting could be another method of transmission of plant viruses. He showed the contagious nature of peach yellows.